Currently in the US, there are more than 500,000 people that are diagnosed with cerebral palsy. That's 500,000 families that have a family member with special needs. For these families, they are faced with more challenges. They are required to have more knowledge about dealing with everyday medical needs versus a family that doesn't have a family member with special needs. Today, I'm going to share my story about my daughter Taylor and how we overcome some of these obstacles. In order to overcome some of these challenges, we first need to understand exactly what cerebral palsy is and what type my daughter suffers from. Unfortunately, there is no definite cause of CP. Some doctors attribute it to a birth injury, either in utero, so while the mother was pregnant, or during childbirth. There are four different types of cerebral palsy. There's spastic, dyskinetic, ataxic, and mixed. My daughter was diagnosed with mixed cerebral palsy. That's a combination of the other main types. Taylor's CP is a combination of spastic and ataxic. Spastic cerebral palsy is the most common. About 80% of people who are diagnosed with CP have this form. They deal with having an increased muscle tone, which causes the muscles to be stiff and their movements to be awkward. Ataxic CP causes problems with both balance and coordination. Cerebral palsy is diagnosed through developmental and medical monitoring and evaluations. This means that if a child does not reach a certain milestone, such as holding their head up by themselves, crawling, or walking by a certain age, a medical intervention may be needed. By medical intervention, I'm talking like MRIs. That way they can determine if there's a neurological reason as to why a child is not progressing. My first indication that there might have been something going on with my daughter was that she was not walking by the time that she was 18 months old. So, after countless doctor visits, medical examinations, MRIs, it was determined that she had mixed cerebral palsy. She has an unusual amount of muscle tone in her legs, which causes her muscles to be extremely stiff, and she has an unsteady gait, which is the ataxic CP in her abdominal region. On March 4th, 2011, exactly 1 month after she had turned 2 years old, I received the news about her diagnosis. So, after digesting that and realizing that we would never have a so called normal life, I needed to figure out a treatment plan along with her doctors to make her life as fulfilled as possible. There is no cure for cerebral palsy. However, there are many treatments and therapies that are available, especially for Taylor at her age, to allow her to develop and become more independent. So, physical therapy, orthotic braces, forearm crutches, and Botox injections are currently what make up Taylor's treatment plan today. Once a week, Taylor attends a 45-minute session of physical therapy. She's been going to physical therapy now for almost 2 years, and she has made some amazing progress. Just last week, she actually took 3 steps on her own, unassisted, for the first time in her life. So, like I said, huge, huge, amazing progress. The orthotic braces and the forearm crutches are what allow her to move more independently. The orthotic braces she wears on her legs from her knees down, and they're really, really stiff. They allow her feet not to be pointed like this, like ballerina toed. It's more flat, has more of a normal movement. The forearm crutches offer her the support that she needs in her abdominal region to stand up straight to have that forward motion for walking. The Botox injections are not like what you would see on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's actually a specific strand that allows the muscles to become more loose. She receives these injections about every 4 months in her legs, and the flexibility that she gains allow her body to have more fluidity with her movement, and again, it allows her to move more independently. So after establishing Taylor's treatment plan, there were still some things that we needed to face and deal with in our day-to-day lives. And parents will understand that every parent envisions a certain life for your child, a life that does not involve challenges, trials, tribulations, that everything that they do is going to be filled with happiness and nothing but success. So there was definitely a mourning period that came with receiving her diagnosis. I had imagined her running up and down soccer fields and dancing at her wedding. These things are still obtainable for her. However, they're going to be obtained in a different manner than what I had imagined for her. Just because Taylor has CP does not mean that her life is over by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, she has a brighter future in front of her. She now has this platform that will allow her to prove to everybody, the world, that just because you have a disability does not mean that your wildest dreams can't come true. She has touched more people's lives in her 3.5 years than anybody that I've ever met. She is truly the embodiment of what bravery is. So uh, now that you know about the different types of cerebral palsy, the different therapies that are available, and some of the emotional effects that come with having a family member or child with special needs, I hope now that you have a broader understanding on just some of the things that, these 500,000 families deal with on a day-to-day basis. My daughter's definitely opened my eyes to a world that I never knew existed, but it definitely is a world that I couldn't imagine not living in. Thank you.